Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've just finished a fantastic coffee and natter today here with Terry Livesey, who's a fantastic photographer. We've heard a great talk about how good photography can help your business. Terry, thank you for joining us, and thank you for speaking at Coffee and Natter.
It's been great to be here.
How did you find the event today?
Absolutely fantastic. Everyone's got a real good buzz about everything in the business world, basically. Yeah. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see people at the forefront of it, just going, yeah, actually, it's all working really well.
Fantastic. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for giving us your time. You are a professional photographer. You do speak. You are a paid speaker to talk about photography and the importance of photography within business. You've come here to support Pathway to Grow and Coffee and Natter by giving us your time for free. So, on behalf of the whole team at Pathway to Grow, a big thank you for that. I'm going to move forward now, and we're going to go on to talking about yourself, because that's, this is where we like to give you value back, for giving us your time, and we'd like to talk to the people there who are watching us now live for the first time on Facebook.
It's great to be live. I've not been live before, so this is fantastic.
We want these guys to understand who you are, what you're about, and potentially come back to you one day to use your services. So let's talk about, how did you get into photography?
So when I was younger, I tried to get into photography, and I say tried, it's back in the days when it was all film. We didn't have digital cameras.
All the dark rooms.
Yeah, it's all dark rooms.
Films.
And I tried to get into it. I tried to get an apprenticeship, but I couldn't get one. So I was like, so I ended up drifting into computers, basically, at university and at college, and that, which then took me into the animations industry. And then I started working on TV and film. And then I sort of came back into the IT industry and realised that after a while, I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
It didn't ignite a creative side of me.
It wasn't something you was doing for the, because you enjoy it. It was more a means to an end.
Yeah. So I made the decision that I wanted to change. So I set up a studio and started doing photography as a creative outlet. I'd always loved doing photography, and I loved doing landscapes and everything else. Yeah. And I wanted to bring that creativity back. So that's what I did. I set the studio up, started working at it, and then sold the business that I had in that field, and just did photography full time. But it was all based around business and commercial, because that's the world I'd sort of grown up in. But creating the creative side into that.
Fantastic. So now you're a full-time photographer?
I am, yeah. For the last 8 years, been doing commercial photography from the studio in Kidderminster. So.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, I know you touched on about, technology and how photography's changed. I'm really sort of interested in when you was growing up and, taking photos on film cameras and having to go into the dark room to get them processed, and how old editing techniques work.
Yeah, so I mean, back then obviously it was different. You took a photo, you didn't, especially when you were learning, it was very expensive for film, because it just, you had to go out and buy it, and then you had to develop it and see, and everything took a long time to get back. And it's very difficult to learn in that situation, because by the time you've got the development back, you forgot what you did at the time to get the results. Modern technology has really improved that. People can take a picture and they know straight away with an instant review whether it's worked or not. And it's made learning technology and photography so much quicker. It's fantastic. But there again, we've got the dark room, and we used to edit in the dark room. And people say nowadays, you shouldn't edit a photograph. It's not true if you haven't edited. They did exactly the same back then. The dark room, dodging and burning and trying different effects to alter the photograph before you saw it printed. Yeah. The big difference is on the computer now. It's far easier. You can do so much great stuff with it.
I mean, you must have had a lot of horror stories. I mean, I remember going on holiday and taking one of those disposables, sending it to Boots, and coming back with all black photos.
It's one of those things. I always remember my old man, actually. We went to America, and there was this Coca-Cola rig, and it was glorious, and I was there, and I was like, I want to have a picture taken with this. He took several shots with it. We got back, and it was just pictures of his eye. He'd have on these box cameras, and he took it round the wrong way. I was just like, oh no, that one moment.
I think Polaroid really changed sort of instant photography.
Yeah, it did, yeah. Polaroid was great. I still love it now, and we still use it in the studio. We take little snapshots on it and use them. It's, as well as a retro thing, it's got a really nice style to it at the end of the day. And I just love that style. It's gorgeous, and people still try and replicate that even digitally.
And what's your view on the way sort of photography is now become so prominent on people taking photos on their phone. So we've got apps like Instagram and Snapchat and all these new modern technologies that have come out to enhance the photography experience, especially personal photography.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I remember I joined a company called Till Late, and I started taking photographs, and I remember, you know, we were taught to use SLRs, which were still pretty new in sort of mid 2000, to have an SLR, changing the shutter speed and trying to get the light intensity correct.
So you've got the aperture, you've got the shutter speed and the ISO all together.
And trying to take photos. And, you know, we used to go to events and take photos of people at events, but as soon as the mobile phone with the camera came out, our job became obsolete because people had their own phones, they were taking photos of themselves and each other and in their groups. And the phenomenon of the selfie.
Selfie's great, really.
But I mean, it's not a new phenomenon. People always did try and take selfies.
But it's really awkward to do.
Yeah.
Now it's so easy. I mean, the kids just naturally take a good selfie. They've just learnt it. Us adults, we're still trying to work out the best position to get, brilliant picture out of it.
I think the real sort of inventor of, again, we go back to Polaroid cameras, because you can, if you look back at some of the old Polaroid pictures, it is of people holding the Polaroid up, you know, like that, and trying to take a photo.
Yeah, it is. I mean, technology has come along, and it's absolutely fantastic, really.
Yeah.
It's great that everyone's getting out there and taking photos.
Yeah.
And, you know, the new phones that are out there, the photos are superb. And as we've seen today, I've been teaching people how to get the most out of using iPhones and any other phone, etc., for their prints.
Yeah.
To just use it. The technology is so good. And
so, I mean, apart from being a fantastic photographer, you do talk a lot about how photography is important for business, and many of the people in the Pathway to Grow community are business owners.
Yeah.
You know, they all want to know how they can grow their business. So just give us a bit about what you've talked about today and how good photography really does help your business.
So one of the things is, obviously, photography in business is marketing. It's a way of marketing your product or service to your customers. And the minute you see a photograph, you make a snap decision about whatever it is that's photographed. So if you've got a chocolate cake and it just looks horrible light and it looks disgusting, you're not going to want to buy and eat that chocolate cake. Okay. If you take it in the best possible light and it just looks like, oh my God, I want to eat it, you've just sold it. You don't have to have words with photography. That's the key thing. Yes, you can have words to back it up, but the photograph should sell what you've got there straight away.
A picture paints 1,000 words.
Yeah, one of the things we taught today was, with photographs and using your phone, is actually doing it outside using nature's light. Yeah. You've got this massive light high up in the sky with clouds, giving it nice diffused light. You can take perfect pictures in that situation. Use what's there. You don't have to have everything fancy at the end of the day, like we would have in the studio. Yes, if you want to create an advertising shot that's going to go in a magazine, yes, you want to put that bit extra effort into it. But if it's just for your own business and you just want to get an image across to people, do it yourself. It's very easy.
One thing, me and Saf have a massive discussion about is stock images.
Yeah.
We absolutely hate stock photos.
Yeah, he was telling me that earlier today.
If you go onto our Pathway Group website, our Pathway to Grow website, our ThinkFest website, we have gone away with any stock photos now.
Yeah.
It is all photos of our company working, in action. So if you go onto the new Pathway to Grow website, it's all photos of actual events.
Which is fantastic.
And actual speakers and actual people giving testimonials. When is it right to use stock photos and when isn't it? When's the wrong time?
If you've got the resource and budget to have customised photographs by a professional, then go and do that. I would never say don't do that. But if you have got some general photos, you're a service company or something, and you want to just demonstrate something, it's better to have a stock photo than just the rubbishy photo you've taken yourself in bad light indoors that you're not going to get the most out of, because that's not going to be endearing to your customer. So go and use that stock photo to represent that. Obviously, if it's a photo of yourself, then you're not really going to want to replace yourself with Brad Pitt. You might want to, but you shouldn't. Yeah. So it's not going to be useful for that. But actually, just to get across a message that you're trying to portray in your business, then it's great for that.
Fantastic. Okay. And what other messages have you got for business owners in terms of the types of photos they're taking? I mean, is there such thing as a bad photo?
Yeah, there is such a thing as a bad photo. It might be technically good, but if it's not right for what you're trying to do in your business, it's a bad photo. So basically your photographer should be well averse with marketing and photos. It's his business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's got to say, actually, for what the audience you're trying to get, we need to take the photo in this way to engage that audience. And I think that's very important.
Okay. Brilliant. Fantastic. So, good photos, always good for your business. If I was to ask you, give me 5 important tips about photography and business, what would those be?
Maximise your product in it. If you've got a product, make sure that actually it's all about the product. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, on that with the product, if you've got a product that no one knows anything about, say you've got a balloon, everyone knows the sort of rough size of a balloon, okay? But if you've just developed this brand new widget, put a sense of scale in the picture, because your audience needs to know roughly how big it is without having to look at the little subtext underneath.
Yeah.
So that's one from that point of view. Do seek professional help. Not mentally, but actually for the business. Okay, so
come and speak to someone like yourself who knows photography, understands business.
Exactly. Just come and get some ideas. You know, I quite often talk to customers, and they might not necessarily employ me to do the work, but you know what? It's all about creating something for them, and they'll remember that in the future going forward. So that's always really, really good.
Okay.
If you can't afford to pay for a professional photographer, then go and do it yourself. Just use natural light, which is what we talked about today. Use that as a tip to get started, just to get you going. Then later on, switch over to a professional photographer.
Yeah.
But you've got to drive your business forward. You've got to do what's right for your business.
I think one thing you mentioned today, which is really important, and you know, I want to share this message with you all out there today, is don't use filters.
Yeah.
So I know whenever we're on Snapchat and we're putting those dog faces on,
it's great.
you know. And on Instagram, you can, you know, make a photo look 100 years old.
Exactly.
But, you know, you made the very key point today. Do not use filters.
Yeah, don't use filters. At the end of the day, the customer wants to see that product and they want to see what they're going to buy.
Yeah.
When they get something different to what you've been selling, that's not good for customers. You know, you're just going to get a bad reputation at the end of the day. Take the filters off. It's fine for your selfies and everything else. Keep it for that and go down that route. Okay. The other thing that, another point onto that is watermarks.
Yeah.
As photographers use watermarks because we're obviously trying to protect our images, so we stick watermarks on it and that's fine. But it doesn't have to be that, it could be a branding tool.
Yeah.
You know, the watermarks that we have and I use have got our web address on there, they've got other products and services that we offer, they've got the email address, they've got a telephone number. You can do that. It doesn't have to cover the picture. It could just be at the side. You've got to remember that picture could be anywhere on the internet. If someone sees that product,
they're seeing your brand as well.
Yeah, and they know where to get that product from. They don't have to go to Google again and search to find that product. They can just go, oh, there's a telephone number, there's a web address. Great, got it. Because the internet's fantastic. You could do a photo and someone in America seeing it the next day.
Another thing you touched upon, which was very, very technical, and I don't think we've got enough time to talk about it exactly today, but it's something people can maybe contact you to learn more about, and that's to do with Google and how Google picks up photos in searches. Yeah,
because the one thing about Google is, at the moment, it doesn't read a picture and go, oh, that's a bottle of Radox. It doesn't know that. So what you've got to do is you've got to describe that to Google, so that Google can then display it to someone else. And we covered a lot on that today. I'm not going to go through it all now, but you need to look at that. Either speak to your web developer or your photographer, or give me a shout if you want to know some more details on that, because it's really, really important.
Fantastic. Because I found that quite interesting of how, you know, we get a lot of people talking about SEO and all of these things, and especially now we talk about keywords in your website and in your pages and, you know, building your rankings on Google, but what you talked about today was how you can actually use your photos to build into your SEO, which was fantastic. And I think, you know, if people do want to learn more about this, do some research and do get in contact with Terry about that. Just to finish off then, what advice would you give to a young person now watching this who, or even not a young person, someone like yourself who wanted to do photography but never got the chance to do photography? Yeah. What advice would you give to an individual out there?
Okay, I think probably the one thing I would say is build a portfolio, experiment, get your images how you want them, and then present them to people. You can't just go and expect someone to hire you and go, I haven't seen any work, but you'll be fantastic, because that's never going to be the case. build a portfolio, do stuff and find a niche that really interests you. Because there's so many genres of photography.
Yeah.
Which bit do you want to do? Do you want to do a bit of all and just be a jack of all trades, or do you want to specialise? Do you want to just do car photography? Do you want to do product photography? Go and find an experiment and then build a portfolio up with that. Portfolios are fantastic. Your clients will love it.
Brilliant. Terry, it's been an honour to have you here at Coffee and Natter today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
And more importantly, thank you for your experience. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.